The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or Raging 2 Promotion.
Hey everybody, welcome to another Thursday Night Throwdown. I am your host Rodney Fyke, and we are here and we are going to throw some pencil and some ink. Brian is in the house. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us tonight. So Richard, how are we doing tonight? We'll get to the guy down there at the bottom here in a second.
Doing good.
I heard you went to the border for dinner.
Oh yeah, I had some Mexican food. Had a Jayhujos burritos, and I'm just ready to go to sleep.
Bedtime, huh?
Yep, bedtime.
All right. So joining us tonight, we have Chad. It's Schoettle, correct?
Correct.
All right. Yes, got it. Okay, cool.
Don't worry.
Chad is
people mess up that last name.
That's cool. I almost had it right the other day when we were talking back and forth. So Chad also hails from the Queen City over on the east side. So how are we doing tonight, Chad? Thanks for joining us, by the way.
Hey, it's great. It's great to be here. I'm doing all right. And basically a little bit more about me. Like he said, I'm from the Queen City. I've been doing a lot of the indie comics for quite some time. Now I've been going to conventions and just trying to make a name for myself.
Awesome. That's cool. So while you're at it, just go ahead and tell everybody where you can be found on social media.
So you can always follow me on the Facebook, The Art of Chad Schoettle. But most of the time you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok lately through Schoettle Arts. Just copy the name right down there, and you'll be able to find me on all my on my post and a lot of my recent time lapse pieces I've been working on.
Excellent. Excellent. I you know what? I don't know if I'm following you on Instagram, so I'm going to write this down and make sure that I remedy that situation here soon. Okay. So Richard, let's go to you. Tell everybody who you are.
Name is Richard Jones. You can find me at rlj3.com and rlj3 art on all the socials. I'm not on TikTok, not yet, but this whole new TikTok thing, I don't understand. I'm too old for that.
Man, I'm still having a hard time trying to figure that thing out, and I've been on it for over a year.
Yeah, I can't do any dances.
Well, I might just get on there and do a video with my porcelain white legs.
Oh, that I might get on TikTok for that.
And instant follow.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Facebook user?
What's up?
As you all know, I am Rodney Fyke. I am a creator, artist, writer, jack of all trades in the Indie Comics Network, on the Indie Comics Network, in the indie comic scene off and on for the better part of 35 years, 33, let's say 33 years.
That's showing the age.
Yeah, I know. I told you I was old. You guys can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Rodney Fyke Art. You can also find me on the Hasm YouTube channel, or go to hasm.com. That's HAZZUM.com, where you can check out our books such as Peanut Pudding and Jelly, Unchained, Pitter Patter, Roadkill, Rampage, and new for 2023, Doghouse, coming soon to a Kickstarter near you. So tonight, we are going to talk about art and what it takes to be an artist, and all of our do's and don'ts and favorites and stuff we hate and stuff like that. So let's kick it off by just giving everybody an idea when you started drawing. How old were you? What what prompted you into it. And Chad, since you're new to the show, let's go ask you.
So I've been drawing at the age of 5. I don't think I've actually really got myself much into the comics and stuff until my college years of doing graphic design. I was then introduced with my college professor who taught me cartooning, taught me the basics of comics and stuff, that he wanted to start with an indie comic with me.
Okay.
And got myself into not only the indie world of all that stuff, but the comic conventions itself. So he introduced me to the whole Artist Alley comic book thing, and I got hooked.
Now let me ask you. Hey, Phil's in the house. What's up, Phil? How you doing, buddy? Where did you go to school?
I went to Antonelli College before it shut down last year, actually.
Okay.
I went there, like I said, for the graphic design, but I got myself hooked with the comic books.
Okay, so let me ask you this: how old are you?
I am 34.
Okay.
I graduated in 2009 at that time, so I was 21 at that point.
Okay. So you've been mussing around for about a little over 10 years then.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Let me go ahead and switch my camera too.
So what's you showed us earlier when we were backstage a piece of your art with the Zipatone. Mm-hmm. What's the name of your tell the folks the name of your indie book?
So the indie book that I'm currently working on right now is called When Darkness Falls. Okay. And it is a story that's mostly tied in with the supernatural, along with some of the more current events that go along with it. But it was tied with me, especially with a lot of the stuff that I have gone through in my own personal life. I kind of wanted to tie in with it, and it's been a pretty good seller. I'm on issue 7 at this time.
Nice.
And this takes me a long time because I'm doing the entire thing all traditional. Like tones and everything.
I know that feeling. I can't do it all. As much as I want to, I just can't. So,
and much respect for doing it traditional. There's some, I mean,
yeah,
I digital stuff is great. I love digital. I've done it for 20 some years, but it's just something about traditional. It's just so much, I like it so much better.
Oh, I mean, it's great, especially when I'm working on the actual inking with G-nibs and all these deleter nibs and all that stuff, than the microns. For some reason, it just gives my work a lot more depth of feel.
Yeah, more organic. Yeah. I totally get that. When I was a background inker on G.I. Joe for almost a year way back 2004 or 5, and I started doing all of the foliage, trees, bushes, stuff like that with the nibs, and really liked the way that looked. Wood, exploding pieces of wood.
Yeah.
Nothing better to ink that with than a Crow Quill pen, Hunter 102.
Oh, I got like an entire box full of
yeah.
And I go through them like when I start working on my own pages.
Yeah, don't leave them in a cup though overnight with water.
Yeah,
they don't like that very much.
Yeah, I kind of wish I knew that information when I first started. That would have been fantastic.
That's the kind of stuff they don't teach you in school.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, Chad, when I was doing the G.I. Joe stuff, I was over on the east side of town there with do you know John Larder?
The name sounds familiar.
Okay, he did a lot of work with Josh Blaylock at Devil's Due.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the inker on GI Joe when they relaunched with Devil's Due. But he from Cincinnati, and he actually did his first published work with us back in the 90s. So I ran into Josh at the Chicago Comic-Con and talked about some stuff, and ended up doing some inking for him. And he's like, I told him I was looking for some work because we weren't doing a Superior 7 anymore. And he's like, all right. He says, and then I got back in town, and John called me on Tuesday, that following Tuesday, and said, hey, you want to help me on some inks for G.I. Joe? It's like, yeah.
That had to be an amazing feeling.
Oh, yeah. But, the cool thing, the reason I brought that up is because when I went over, and he had a studio, and it was funny because he had an apartment, but he went and rented a studio. So it forced him to get up and go every day to the job. And it was just, like a bedroom-sized room. It was big enough for 2 desks. And he had his drafting table, and I had my drafting table. And we sat there and just cranked pages out. But when he used his Crow-Cool pen, he had an old T-shirt. And it was like 20 years old, so it was really thin, but it was really soft. And that's what he used when he was done with his nibs, he would wipe them off on the shirt. It's like I would use like a paper towel or something. He's like, no, because you get the fibers in between the 2 prongs, and with this shirt, it's so old it doesn't hardly have any lint at all on it, so you're not gonna have to worry about that. I was like, oh wow. So that was
makes sense.
Yeah, it was a little trick I picked up from him.
Yeah, I've just been using these old microfiber towels I got.
Yeah.
On my nibs.
Another guy that I know here locally, he taught me with a fresh nib to take a lighter and just light the tip of it on fire for like 2 seconds.
Yep. That's because when they come from the manufacturer, they actually have like a wax coating to it. So once you actually burn that off, the flow of the inks, depending on the inks that you get or get, it will actually flow better. And I know that you can get some of the speedball ones over at Michael's and stuff. I much prefer getting these Zig cartoonist inks.
Yeah.
They just flow, and they are just a lot more of a matte color than I just really prefer.
That's what I love about. I've actually got what the heck is it called? I'm gonna butcher the hell out of this name, I'm sure, but I think it's Nuotank, something like that. It's these right here.
Yeah.
And the ink in them they dry flat black. I mean, and really dark black.
I got that too, and I got this Fuji something. It's the same kind of thing, but unlike how this is where you can actually just only replace this, you got to replace the whole damn thing.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's fine. It gets the job done.
So let's go back to Richard. Let's ask you that question about what got you started. What propelled you into doing artwork?
Well, I actually have been drawn pretty much all my life. And I've had the teacher call my mom about some of the stuff that I was drawing when I was a kid. But what really got me into it is my sister's ex-husband owned a comic book store. So, and he would always stop by the house and bring comic books. And, around that time, comic cards were just coming out and getting popular.
Oh, yeah.
And then he actually had a friend of his that was excuse me, got a frog in my throat. I had a friend of his that was a comic book artist. And I'd go in there and he'd show me how to draw some stuff and, teach me how to draw. He'd give me assignments. I'd have to draw like, 20 different positions of the head and, 20 different positions of the hand and all this stuff. Basically teaching me the anatomy.
Right.
And then he actually had, I've talked about Kyle before. That was the first time I actually met Kyle. He brought Kyle out, and me and Kyle sat down and we're drawing some stuff together. And I actually wish I could find it, but we actually drew it was when he first did Carnage Mind Bomb, and it just came out. He kind of sketched out Carnage real quick, and then I kind of put a lot of the detail into it.
Nice.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. He's such a cool dude. That's why we kind of hit it off right off the bat. I loved his artwork ever since. But yeah, that's pretty much how I got started. And then, around the time that I was trying to get into comic books, it was the time that the industry was kind of going downhill.
Yeah.
And got out of it, did graphic design work for like 20 years. And then during the pandemic, I decided to just get back into it.
Thank God for that pandemic, huh?
Yeah. I tell you what, man, I love graphic design. I really do.
Yeah.
I hate the politics and working with some of the people that hire you to do graphic design, because
don't get me started on that one.
Yeah, it's just like everybody's a designer. They all know better than you. It's like, what did you hire me for? You could have just sat down and learned this, done it yourself.
I completely get it, because before I started going full time on wanting to actually do conventions and trying to get doing indie comics myself and stuff, I was a graphic designer at a print shop that's local here, and it was just everything until the new owner actually came in. It went from basically I was being very creative, and then it just went downhill on everyone thinking they're actually no better than me, and I just had to get out of there. And it was like that during that pandemic stuff that I started looking at myself and just, what, I'm taking a gamble on myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's we talk about the pandemic, the silver linings and stuff that propelled us online. It's something we had talked about for a couple of years prior, never got around to it because we were too busy doing shows. So we couldn't do shows, and we got online. We had, new books for the new convention season, and we couldn't go to shows. So we were like, okay, well, let's figure this out. And producer B got on the internet, God bless her, and figured out what equipment we needed and ordered it. And it was a series of, it was a comedy of errors. We would try this camera and that stand, and we started off using the phone.
It's been like 3 months trying to figure out why this isn't working and that isn't working.
Yeah.
I'm blessed to having 4 brothers that are just very tech savvy when it comes to trying to figure everything out, because as soon as they're talking about like, trying to get this webcam because of this, or get this mic because it has a much more better sound quality compared to this name brand stuff, and it's like it just goes over my head.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is definitely a blessing. That's
I think I have four little brothers.
Young nerds.
How do you guys like these little things? The sharpeners.
I got those too, but I've recently switched back to actually getting myself these Mitsubishi uni pencils. I don't mind those pencils, especially when it comes to getting those very tight drawings. But I've gotten myself so used to just doing everything rough like this, and then just go straight to ink.
Yeah, it's interesting because I have those, and I've had them for years, and I never used them. And then we were in, I think it was Baltimore or Boston, and I was talking to Buzz. I don't know if you guys know who Buzz is. And I was telling him, so I I just struggled so hard with women. And he was like, well, here, he says, he gave me a pencil and he said, take this piece of paper and draw something real quick. And he was watching how I was holding my pencil. And he said, here, he said, when you draw your women, he says, hold your pencil out here at the end.
Yep.
And just, because women are soft and it's curves and there's no harsh angles. When you're drawing the guys, hold it down here and it's all angles and cuts and stuff. And I stood there and did it with him, and I was like, oh, wow, okay. I've been doing this for how long? And that never occurred to me. He's like, well, that's why you come to the shows and talk to people like me.
Well, next time you see him, let him know that I said I tried that exactly as well, and my women still look like men.
It is the constant struggle.
That is actually new information to me, so I'm definitely going to have to try that.
Oh, okay. Well, see, there you go.
Again, that's always been my struggle too.
Yeah, I spend my entire life drawing superheroes, guys, and when I try to draw the women, they don't look like women.
Well, half of my problem, I think, with that issue is I constantly want to put more and more detail into stuff that I do.
Yes.
Yep.
And the more detail I put into it, the more it looks like a man and not a woman.
Yeah, and the rule is the less detail you can put in a woman's face, the more lines you add, the older she looks.
Right.
Less is more.
Exactly. And it's so weird because if you go and you study, if you compare the way Chris Picciallo does a woman's face to, Adam Hughes or Terry Dodson or, somebody like that, they're completely different, but they work. Chrissy Zolo, her eyes, just watching her, draw all her female characters. It's just like, wow, okay. Everybody's got their own style, but it's just like there's a 1,000 ways to do it, and but not one of them that I do works.
Who is that artist that draws like portraits, female portraits with like a ballpoint pen? Is it Adam Hughes?
I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember the name. It's gonna bug me.
Is that Frank Cho does that?
Frank Cho, thank you.
Yeah.
I love the way he draws women because he draws women accurately.
Yes.
They don't have like a pencil waist with just boobs and a butt that you could eat dinner on.
Right. If you like him, do you know who Alberto Ruiz is?
Yes, I do.
Yes. He draws a sexy woman.
Yeah, I mean,
anatomically correct.
Yeah, they're correct. They got curves, but it's not accentuated curves.
Yeah. And Alberto's are very stylized, which I love because it's kind of graphic, but it's illustration at the same time. And it's just and I would talk to him every year in Chicago because he used to have that brand studios, all the square bound books that he would bring out every year, and I would buy. Like that's how Humberto Ramos and those guys, they started printing their books with him. So I've got all of Humberto's and Francisco Herrera's and Scotty Young and Sean Galloway and all those guys. But I would stand there and talk to Alberto for like an hour, and just the sweetest, most genuine guy, but very passionate about art and just a great conversation.
Yep. Well, it's like we were talking. Remember a couple shows back, we were talking about Mid Ohio Comic Con and how great it was and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was one year, and I can't remember what year it was. They actually had Julie Bell. You remember her stuff? She's the wife of Frank. Boris Vallejo.
Oh, Boris Vallejo. I'm trying to picture her in my head. I can't. I'm drawing a blank. The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, she used to draw like a bunch of like bodybuilding females, basically.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about.
She does amazing. She has amazing eye for anatomy. I mean, obviously she's married to Boris, so
Right.
I think that might have been a requirement or something.
Yeah.
But and they even had Joe Jusko there as well.
Oh yeah, I've met Joe a few times. Just a cool dude. Used to be a New York City police officer.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Used to walk the beat in Brooklyn.
I mean, just
New York.
tough as nails.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, he's huge too. He's like 6'4", and lifted weights his whole life. So he's built like the guys he draws.
Yeah, I don't even know where the hell I was going with that story.
Julie Bell. And
yeah,
her anatomy.
the way that those people actually paint females and males and anatomy period is what I've always loved, because it's more accurate. It's not very embellished, I guess.
Yeah. And there's that has its place and its time, and it serves its purpose, but there's something to be said for that as well. It's just so intoxicating and mesmerizing to look at and study.
Yep.
Chad, that looks awesome, dude.
It's taking me a minute.
That's okay.
Who is that?
We got till 9:30. It's all good.
What's
That's Spider-Man Noir.
Yes.
Oh, you did say
I
that.
think the only splash of color I might do is the little Rubik's Cube.
That'd be awesome.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
I cannot wait for the next one, the next movie.
Yeah, when's that coming out? I am so jacked about that.
I think it's supposed to be around the summer, although Nicolas Cage is not even reprising his role.
He's
What?
not.
No, he's not coming back, reprising his role for Spider-Man Noir.
Oh,
I know, right? I just saw an article about that not that long ago.
That sucks. I thought he did a
yeah.
damn good job.
That was one of the funniest parts of it. Yeah. Did you?
Okay.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, have you seen the Renfield trailer?
No.
No,
Oh, man.
I've seen the trailer, but I haven't seen the show yet. Is it
I-
out?
That I just saw the trailer a couple of days ago, last week, and well, no, I think it was Monday. It is hilarious because the guy that plays Hank McCoy in the X-Men movies, the Fox X-Men movies,
Mm.
he's actually Renfield, and he goes to like a Alcoholics Anonymous support group, and he's talking about it's like a self-help group, and he's talking about his asshole of a boss. Of course, they have no idea he's talking about Dracula. You got to watch the trailer. I don't want to give the rest of it away. It's funny.
I will have to definitely watch that now.
Yeah.
Can you tell who I'm drawing here, Rodney?
It is. Who is that?
Is that the
It's Tim.
Oh.
Tim Ingram.
Oh,
Is that what it's? Oh, no, that was.
Yeah, that's the. Hang on, she's going to put it up on the big screen.
I've only met him once.
Okay.
Yeah, he commissioned me. He wanted me to do this for the convention that he's got coming up.
Yeah, we met him for the first time at Torg,
Yeah.
and he's a ball of energy.
Yeah, he's cool, dude.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I actually got a table at Torg.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
You too?
I tell you, we did that. We did it last year for the first time, and then we did it again this year. And Jesus, it was amazing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, we couldn't believe how many books we were selling. It was crazy. It was like, wow. And was just so much fun, and they just kept the energy just so alive, and it was great. I mean, that was one of our best shows.
Yeah, as soon as I had I forgot the guy's name that runs that show. Anyways, as soon as I hit him up, told him I wanted to get a table, he was like, "Oh, welcome back, man." Because I did the first one.
Yeah, that's where we met you and I
Yep.
met for the first time. Yeah.
Yep. And the year after that, the show was on the same time as, I think it was Akron Comic Con. And in Akron, I'm actually one of the guests there, so I couldn't just say no.
Right.
So
yeah, it was a great show. We were really pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that was my first show over there. I just didn't know what to expect, and then out of nowhere, I was just like bombarded by so many people. I think that was my second best show of that year.
Yeah.
I was really surprised that by the time I found out the booths were open, I immediately went right back because I had so much fun meeting so many really interesting people.
Yeah, because we talked very briefly at that show, right?
Yeah, we talked a little bit, but
yeah,
I think you will actually agree that we couldn't even get up on from our tables.
yeah, because it was so busy, and I had to go. I think I caught you on the way over to Tim's table. I was talking to Tim, and Adam was there, and he was way over on the other end. And he come over and was talking to us, and I never actually got a chance to get over to his table.
Adam?
Yeah, Adam Fields.
Oh, he was actually just there as a guest.
Oh, that's right. This is a fan. Yeah, that's right.
You're thinking of Turkey Sharks.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Josh Nealis.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife just said that's where we got our Nightmare Before Christmas print from you.
That's right. They all kind of bleed together. So let's okay, so I have a list of questions I'm going to go down. We already covered the first couple. Do you think you need formal education or school to be a quote unquote real artist? It's a loaded question.
It's a tricky question, honestly.
Yeah.
Load it up, baby. You're up first, Chad. Because mine's going to be a response.
All right. Well, I mean, back before YouTube and everything, if you really wanted to actually learn anatomy and stuff, you don't need to go to college or anything. You can always take those those art program classes, and always learn a bit on anatomy, and then always get like these books. You don't really need to go to a pristine college, like I or so many people I know have just to actually get an understanding when it comes to comics. Now you can just go straight to YouTube and watch David Finch on how to actually do anatomy and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Where I shudder to think if I would have had YouTube in the 90s. Oh my God.
Oh jeez. Yeah, that'd have been awesome.
All right, so is that your final answer, Chad?
That's my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, Richard, let's go with you, buddy.
All right, I'm going to preface this with a story. So when I was doing a bunch of design work for bands and stuff, there was a local bar here in town, or concert hall bar, or whatever you want to call it, called CBRs, that would allow me to do gallery shows. And what I would do is I would bring in bands that I worked with. They would play a show, and then I'd have artwork set up along the walls that people could look at. It was really cool.
Right.
Now, I actually tried to go to CCAD before I got into the magazine.
Okay.
And I went there and had a meeting with one of their head honchos, showed her my artwork, showed her my design work, showed her everything I was doing. And she flipped out and loved it. She was like, you would fit in here perfectly. She was like, but you'll have to go to Columbus State and take your prerequisites or whatever.
Right.
Basically take all the crap that I just learned in high school again.
Right. Your required courses.
Right.
Yeah.
In order to come here. And I told her, I was like, well, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to put myself into debt just to basically take high school over again.
Yeah.
Because I hated it when I took it to begin with. I don't want to take it again. So, long story short, an instructor from CCAD came to one of those gallery shows that I did, looked at my design work, my artwork on the wall, and she was like, this is really good. Is there any way I could get you to come in and talk to my class? And I told her straight to her face, I was like, ma'am, I'm sorry. That's probably not a good idea, because the first thing out of my mouth would be, get your money back and get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Because you don't need school to be creative. You don't, I mean, that's just something I've always believed in.
No, I agree. I went to school here locally as the ACA College of Design and Trucking. And I went for animation. And I wasn't planning on it, but one of my best friends came into high school one day and said, hey, I'm going to go to ACA and I'm going to take animation. And I was like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So I looked into it and it's like, okay, cool. So we're both going to ACA. When we graduate, we're going to be animators, blah, 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 blah. Everything's great. We get there, first day of school. Dean of Students comes in and says, and there were 10 animation students and there were 34 commercial art students. And she informed us that the animation teacher quit the day before.
Oh, man.
And we had the option. We could, we could get our money back and go somewhere else, or we could stay there and we would be learning animation or commercial art skills until they found a replacement for the animation teacher. And then they followed it up by saying, Walt Disney was a commercial artist before he was an animator. And I said, well, before Walt Disney, there was no animation. But I didn't grow up in a home that was conducive to education. So I really didn't have a lot of proper guidance. I should have got my money back and went somewhere else. But I never learned anything there that I didn't already know. I was there for 2 years. I got a commercial art degree that I've never used. And it's if you want to draw, if you have that bug in you,
do it.
You're going to make it happen.
Yep,
because
just freaking do it.
I mean, you guys both know it's just something within you that you can't live without, and you have to draw. You have to create. I have a hard time sleeping a lot at night because I can't shut my mind off. It's always going. Because not only the drawing, but the writing and everything else. So yeah, I will say no, you don't need it. Especially the amount of money that you have to shell out. Because if you're if you're knowledgeable enough, I learned so much going to shows, and the thing that really propelled me into doing comics on my own is we went to New York City in 1990, New York Comic-Con at the Penta Hotel, and everybody was there. Eastman and Laird, Lynchner and Monks, all the New York City guys, all the Marvel guys, all the DC guys, and it was just they were all my age, most of the guys, and I was just thinking to myself, the only difference between them and me is the side of the table they're on. But they sat down and they did the work. And from that point on, which I had done too, but we hadn't put it all together. We were in a process of doing it, but it was like after that show, it was over. That's what I was going to do. And then we went back in 92 and we had our first 2 issues. But yeah, I learned so much. Just I would stand there, like I would stand behind like John Byrne or Mike Mignola or whoever and just watch them draw. And I would sponge off of what they were doing. And I mean, that's invaluable.
Yep, it's the best way to do it.
Yep.
Just learn from people that are actually in the industry. I got books upon books upon books of some of the current artists from Marvel and DC that I'm trying to actually see how they actually did certain hands and certain positions and stuff to actually help me out, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just that's how we've always done it. You know, I mean, I grew up, idolizing John Byrne and George Perez and John Buscema and Tom Palmer and Mobius and people like that. And you draw from comics, and then you start slowly developing your own style. And next thing you know, it's like, oh shit, hey,
here's
you got the whole hey.
Yep.
There you go. Byrne Hogarth. Yep.
And then the dynamic lighting and shading.
Yep.
I love this book is really good.
Oh yeah.
I got that.
Dynamic anatomy. Do you have what is it? Dynamic heads and hands or?
No, I don't have that one. I don't think, unless it's somewhere else. But I do have the Bridgman's.
Yeah, I've got that. But it's funny because although those help, just sitting down and drawing, drawing from real life, that's what's going to help you the most. And just like you said, Chad, watching, just studying what the guys are doing and comparing it to what you've got going on. I mean, I've done that my entire life.
Yeah, and Chad's right. I mean, the David Finch's show that he does on YouTube every, Tuesdays or Mondays?
He switches from sometimes he does his live streams on Mondays or Tuesdays, depending on his schedule. And some of these are just very, very educational to actually see. He even posts up like tutorials on how to do dynamic poses, how to do folds, perspective in buildings, how to actually get some of these other things to where it just makes your work really pops. And I take his information and I look from the previous issue I've done to what I'm currently now, and I notice a huge difference just from taking his advice.
Yeah. I watched his video on the folds and stuff in fabric. Oh man, that was just, when you watch him, it's like, oh, it makes so much sense. But you have to see somebody do it, It's like, okay, I get it now. I got it.
Yeah. My wife said that my line is school is for fools.
And it's I get kids coming up to me all the time and with their parents, and you got to kind of guard what you're saying, but I will generally go around the block to come back to draw. Yep. I don't draw as much as I should. I don't practice as much as I should. And I will tell them that, but do it, the more you draw, the better you're going to get. And they appreciate it. And I actually had a girl come to me, actually her mother. I had taught her when she was like 10 years old at Cincinnati Comic Expo. I had her come around the back side of the table and sit down, and I showed her. She was just fascinated with the markers, and I was showing her how to do it. She would ask me how you do it without getting all the streaks. And I showed her. I said, well, you don't pick it up. you just keep going and keep going. And I was showing her and I was teaching her about the blending and everything. And then this year, her mother comes up and she shows me a picture. She says, "Do you remember this girl?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And she said, "Here she is now." And she was enrolled in the Savannah Art College.
Oh, it's a great college.
Aw.
Yeah. Yeah. And she was, she said that I was the catalyst to making, for that decision, because I had such an impact on her, bringing her around and showing her how to do that. And I was just like, wow, this is, you can't buy this. This is just freaking cool. And there she was, 19 years old, standing there looking at me. And I was like, this, I did something good in the world.
You can't put a price on that.
No, that's the best.
Yeah, I'm not 100% positive, but I think that was one of the first schools that actually had sequential arts, like accredited schools.
Yeah. There's
not 100% positive.
There's probably 3 or 4 people in this area that went to Savannah.
Oh, have you ever seen like the campus area?
No.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
oh my God, it's gorgeous.
I've heard about it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I went there and took the whole Forrest Gump tour.
Oh yeah,
because they actually have a Forrest Gump tour where they show you the different places that they filmed for, when he was sitting on the bench, and then there was another area. And they actually drove past the school, the campus for Savannah. And it's gorgeous.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's definitely something I'd like to do. But I know one friend, Matthew, one of his teachers was Tom Lyle, who did the Silver Surfer for a long time back in the 90s. And he passed here recently, and he was talking about how influential he was on him, and because he took him seriously as a comic book artist and this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, it's not the first time I've heard that about teachers and stuff at Savannah. So that's kind of cool to hear. So no, kids, you don't need school. You just need drive and determination.
School's for fools. Look at me.
So, okay, let's move on. I think we crushed that question. Is there such a thing as good or bad art?
AI art.
Besides
that notwithstanding, we all acknowledge that. Or is it just a matter of taste and style?
I think it's a matter of taste and style, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
That, and I feel like it's also just depends on if the person just recently started drawing and wants to actually try to learn more.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always going to get something like at the convention, like that one person that you see and the art really isn't that good, but we actually can see the drive in that person, to where you just want to try to encourage them to continue on, and you never know, that person might actually lap circles around you.
Oh yeah, I've had that happen quite a few times in my life. People that were kids when I was doing the Superior 7 that are now, big names in the industry. So yeah, it's there were a group of guys that used to come to Lexington every year, and they would bring their notebook paper artwork, and they would show us, and they were talking about, it was a Western, and they were going to do this, but it was, it was very amateurish, and it was, just wasn't that good. But you got to work with it. And I would give them all pointers and stuff like that. And after about 3 years, we didn't see them for a while. And then we saw them probably 4 years later, and they had a book. And I was like, oh shit, that's those guys. They did it. They really did it. And I was looking at the artwork and I was going, yeah, okay. I can't for the life of me remember what the book is, but I remember the guys and I remember how enthusiastic they were. And it was kind of cool to experience that and give them what little help and advice that, I could give them. This is a good one. Is using reference cheating?
Nope.
Thank you. Preach.
No, I mean, you have to use reference sometimes. I mean, it just the amount of stuff in the human brain these days, you can't memorize everything. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, it's always great to actually have like a reference on your, like right now with the Spider-Man Noir, I'm literally have a couple of pages from the actual Spider-Man Noir comic, and I'm literally looking at different images here and there, trying to make sure I get the right look of it.
Yep.
Now I remember back in the day there used to be the swiping issue,
Yep. There still is.
Yeah, it definitely still is. But the thing is how you portray it. Did you swipe it? Is it an homage? Are you acknowledging that you used, the reference, the source material? And that's more the issue than anything else. Is if you're, they call it aping. Are you aping somebody? Swiping, aping, whatever. And I won't mention any names, but we all know who we're talking about.
Who?
Oh, you know.
I do.
You should know.
I do not at this time.
Mr. Liefeld.
Oh, man.
Oh, the guy who can't draw feet.
Yeah. But and I just saw it. I guess it was on Instagram yesterday. A picture from that he quote unquote swiped from Ronin that he used in X Factor with Shatterstar and one of his I don't know if it was Cable or whoever it was. Double spread splash page with sequential vertical panels on the right side, right out of Ronin. Panel for panel, pose for pose. But he admitted that it was an homage. And as long as you acknowledge that, that's okay. But if you're, if you go, and I've seen kids do this, and that's the thing that the kids don't understand, especially now in the day and age of the internet. You could get away with it in the 90s.
Yeah, you can't get away with it anymore.
No, because there's a guy, and he works for a sizable company. He did a pose. He used a pose, and I looked at it and I said, "Oh, that's from Savage Sword of Conan." And Tina was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "That is he swiped that from Savage Sword of Conan." And I went and I found the image. It was a pinup that Ernie Chan did in the back of Savage Sword of Conan. I was like, "Look," and she's like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Yeah." So yeah, it's.
I got a story for you guys then.
Let's hear.
Okay, so this was a while ago. This was still a little bit in the early, around 2010 or something like that. And there was a comic that was actually coming out, and a lot of people were actually going for it because it was written and illustrated, I believe, by Jimi. I forget. I think it was Jimi Hendrix's son, or something like that.
He had a son.
I'll have to double check my source on that one. But one of the rock stars, kids actually was trying to actually introduce his own story and stuff. But because of the internet and stuff, a lot of people realized that it was panel for panel taken off from a Japanese comic book called.
It was Gene Simmons' son.
Gene Simmons, thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I apologize for the printing names. For some reason,
Yep.
it was like taken straight off from the Bleach comic book series that was actually debuted in 2003 at that point, and it was like panel for panel, the same style, the same characters, designed, everything, and it got shut down by issue 3 because of all the plagiarism.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, because they covered that in one of the episodes of Family Jewels.
I mean, do these people not realize that you could literally go onto Google right now, go into image search, take a picture of something, and find out if it's been copied?
I guess not.
I mean, that's the whatever.
You'd be surprised. Some people actually think that know what's going on, that actually notice this.
I mean, and the thing is you don't want to be called out. You know, he's like, well, shit, I don't need to do that because I can draw. Now, again, you know, there's certain things that you need a little help on. You know, well, I got to get this. I got to get this hair right, or I got to get this, you know, the twist of the body just this way here. So, you know, it's a tool like anything else, but you know, you just gotta make sure you're not aping it.
You're not taking like literally line for line on someone else's work.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I mean I like what David Finch does. He'll go and take bits and pieces and ideas here and there from different artists and put them all together.
Yeah.
That takes some talent to do regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
but to like copy somebody's work and not changing it at all. Yeah,
you're just asking for trouble.
right.
Oh yeah, we're way past due for the break, so we're gonna go ahead and take a 2-minute break, folks, and get your popcorn or get your drink, do whatever you got to do, and we will be back in 1+1. See you in 2.
Have a question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
In the middle of the night or early Friday morning, depending upon where you are in the world, a group of experienced comics professionals get together to examine and instruct about the art form that they love. That's great comic artwork on Comics by Night, Fridays at 5 a.m. Eastern, here on the Indie Comics Network, indiecomicsnetwork.com.
What was that? This is not a charade.
Hey, we're back. I told Tina, I said, I'm going to be sitting at a show whistling that, and somebody's going to recognize it.
That whistle's stuck in my head now.
Yeah, it totally was. I was sitting back here whistling to it.
We made an earbug. It's so funny, too, when she was doing it. She's over in her little corner, and I'm over here in my corner, and she was over there just giggling and laughing. And I'm like, what are you doing over there? She goes, just wait. And finally she said, come over, you got to check it out. It's so cute. I was like, that's pretty good. I said, I'm going to be sitting at shows whistling this. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Well, Tim, buddy, if you're watching this or if you watch it later, you never look so good.
There you go. He looks savage.
Savage.
That looks amazing, man.
Yeah, that is awesome. Jake's in the house. He says it's encouraged to use reference. Just make sure that it's not a crutch. There you go. All right. Last question that I have on my list is, what is your favorite thing to draw?
Oh man, I've always been a Batman fan, so just anything with Batman or the Batman Who Laughs, or even just any of the Batman villains have always been a fun thing to draw for me.
The Batman Rogues Gallery. Yep, I love that too. What about you, Richard? Do you have a favorite thing to draw?
Yeah, mine's kind of boring. I mean, everybody says Venom. I mean, anything horror related.
Yeah.
You know, dark, twisted type stuff. That's fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, mine has changed because it used to be superheroes and then it used to be Star Wars. But here, like, it seems like the last 6 months or so, it's kind of been horror. Like this piece, it's just, okay, I got a quick reference piece to check out, make sure, everything was accurate, and just got to a certain point and turned it off, and just everything else was just me filling it in, and then boom, you got this piece, and it's like, wow. Yeah, but I've been really enjoying the horror stuff lately. I like the looseness of it, and which, I mean, I can also translate that to Batman too, because I could do that with a number of Batman's villains, like Batman Who Laughs, or even the same thing with Venom. But I tend to get graphic-y with Venom. I don't know why.
That's one of the reasons why I've always liked, speaking of Batman's Rogues Gallery, it's, I was about to say Scarface. Crap. Scarecrow.
Yeah. Yeah, he's always fun to draw.
Okay. I've actually been wanting to do a really nice Scarecrow piece, or I'd like to do one here soon. Or maybe I should just try to talk first. So, what is the first show for everybody this con season?
Hang on, she's getting out the calendar.
Fantastic Con in Toledo.
What is it now?
I got Fantastic Con in Toledo coming up, and that's in March.
Nice.
I had a lot of fun in the first time I was there, when the cons were started slowly coming back after the pandemic stuff. So it was like my first show doing it.
That's crazy too that you said that. I mean, there's a lot of people that said that, a lot of the cons that they were doing were closed down, and I actually was still doing shows during the pandemic. Like, I had the Pandemic Con, which was actually supposed to be at Akron Comic Con, but they just changed it for the pandemic.
I've always been wanting to actually do Akron, but every time I do, it's like the tables get sold out really quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they have tables left now, so you might want to try.
I will definitely have to check that one out because I've heard from my buddy Archie that it's like a fantastic show to actually go to. If you're ever going to try to go to another show, that would be the one to go to.
Yeah, our first one's that new one, that Highland Heights.
Oh, the Highland Heights show. Yeah, that's our first one. When is that? It's in
March 18th.
March 18th. The Highland Heights show, which is the NKU campus.
Oh, nice.
The Student Union Center. Yeah, Chad, are you going to that?
Yeah, I've already backed them up and Kickstarter.
Okay.
It's a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, my local comic shop guy, the guy who I normally go to get all my blanks and stuff, he sent me that link. It's like, and go right on ahead.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I mean, it's very close. It's very close for me, so it's like maybe a 15-20 minute drive.
Yeah, those are the best kind.
Don't have to worry about hotels or.
Yep. So, winter chicken dinner, as far as I'm concerned. That's why I love Cincinnati so much, because it's a huge show, and we can just drive home and sleep in our beds.
That was actually my first show I've ever done.
Really?
Uh-huh. There were a couple shows I've done that were like the local anime ones, but they weren't that big. But the actual first ever Comic Con was the Cincinnati Comic Expo. This was when it first started. It was over at Xavier.
Yeah. Yep. We were there.
You probably saw me and my my teacher then when we were debuting our first book together.
Probably.
It was it was basically MMSBC, or Monster Management Security Bureau of Cincinnati. And it was like a fun little thing. It was kind of basically showing like the love of like Power Rangers and all that stuff, but it was again tied with Cincinnati, so all the locations and stuff were actual Cincinnati locations.
Yeah, that's cool.
And like I said, I got hooked, and I go to that show almost every year except for two of those years.
Yeah, we were actually on the committee for the first 2 years, and then we got too busy, so we bowed out. But it's a great show. So how did it go for you your first year?
For my first year, I didn't know what to really expect, and just for me, actually, just getting a lot of positive feedbacks and just learning a lot of stuff from professionals at that point. Because I also brought my portfolio to actually show from some of the artists that were from Marvel and DC,
right?
To see where I'm at, where I need to improve at that point. And I still try to go to some of these big shows just to present my portfolio with Marvel and DC, just to see where I'm at.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you want a show where you could actually talk to a lot of, the pros and everything, and even have the ability to sit down with them and talk to them, not at the convention, but at like the hotel, that Memphis Comic Con was perfect for that.
Ooh, okay, I gotta write that down.
Which their tables are going to be on sale here shortly, supposedly, and they just announced Kevin Eastman.
What was it?
Really?
Memphis Comic Con. That's the same weekend as Cincinnati, though.
Yeah.
Well, I was planning on going back to C2E2 since it's coming up here in March, because I think Kevin Eastman was actually going to be there too.
Yeah, he is.
He was at Gem City a couple of years ago. in Dayton.
That was the one con I wish I actually attended more on. If I just had the first year I did it, I had a blast on that one, and then I was talking to Adam when he actually did the con, and he was like, "Hey, dude, you know that one artist you really like?" And he was like right by his table, Jonathan Galpion. Well, he's an inker.
Yeah.
And it's like, son of a bitch, I have to work that week. I have to work that weekend.
Yeah, we actually got to talk to him, and actually, no, he wasn't there. It was just Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. But that is it? How do you say his last name? Galapian?
I think it's Galpian.
Galpian. He was there. He was there as well, signing autographs.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal inker.
Oh, he's a phenomenal inker. And if you guys go onto his Instagram and stuff, he's just a fantastic artist. Like some of his illustrations for covers.
Oh yeah.
Stuff lately have just been like you can't keep your eyes off it because there's just so much detail that's put into it.
Yeah, I've been following him for a while. Hey, guess who's here? Tim's in the house.
Hey,
what's up, Tim? How we doing, buddy?
You never look so good, buddy.
Really like what Richard did with your face.
Looks really good.
Pretty sweet.
But yeah, I think my first con this season is Cleveland Westlake. It's one of the Harper shows.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And then after that, I have to gear up for Steel City.
Oh, that's right.
So.
How did you guys end up doing it, Steel City, in December?
We did okay. Definitely not as good as we did last time. The last time we did like literally quite a bit. I'll tell you guys the exact number later on, but yeah, it was pretty good.
That's cool. Richard's drawing the love child of the Unabomber in black mask.
Tim, don't take that. No, but this is actually the writer for my book, Mora, that I got coming out in October. Shameless plug.
That's okay. That's why we're here.
He's got a convention that's coming up that he wants this to be like a poster, and I guess he's going to put it up as a banner and everything. So
sweet. And what show is that? Do we know?
It is the Collector's Con.
Collector's Con. Where is that?
It's in Cleveland, I believe. Tim, put in the information. I can't remember everything. But me and Adam is actually going to be there. So far, I think that's the only artist, but I'm not 100% positive.
I always wondered what people thought when I asked.
Hi, Katie.
Uh-oh. Katie says she's out.
Yep. It's her bedtime.
That's cool. Well, have a sweet dreams, Katie. We'll see you. We'll talk to you next week.
Tim, drop your links in the comments here.
Yeah, did you hear that, Tim? Drop your links in the comments. All right.
And speaking of which, Tim, here's two artists on this stream that are not on your show.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He messaged me.
I know he's already he messaged us.
Oh, did he? Okay.
I just like giving him shit.
Richard and Adam.
He what?
Tim said there's more artists than just Richard and Adam.
Yeah, I'm working off of a little bit of knowledge I have, which really, the older I get, isn't much.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, Chad, we were actually when Rodney and Tina was talking about what type of guests to have on or who we could have on, your name is one of them I popped up.
Oh, yeah.
Because I really dug your work, man. When we had that show, I think it was the Buckeye Comic Con.
Yeah, I continuously try getting back into that show, but I've been having a hard time. Like, I guess the list keeps filling up really quickly, but it is what it is. I definitely enjoyed my time there. Finally got a chance to actually meet you.
Yeah, man. I when you gave me that card, I showed it to you when we were backstage, but so the people know. Actually, hold on a minute, and I'll show people.
Oh, man, I wish I actually still had some more sketch cards on me, but I keep. Yep, I got some. Yeah, I'm working on some new sketch cards now too. Like, that's been a big helper at these shows when they start realizing that once they get the princess stuff, they're getting like a free little one-of-one sketch card.
Yeah. Well, as soon as you gave me that, as soon as I got home, I put it up on my Bernie Wrightson shelf, right with all the rest of the Swamp Thing.
I appreciate that.
That's too cool.
It's every time I get somebody asking me to do a Swamp Thing, it's just so much fun.
Oh yeah, Swamp Thing's that is one character is really fun to draw because, I mean, he's organic. You really can't do him wrong.
No, that and at the recent Cincinnati Comic Expo, somebody asked me to do Clayface. Like, that was my first time ever doing Clayface, and I had a blast doing that one. But I think for some reason at that show, I had a lot of people requesting stuff from animes that some of them I have never even heard of.
Nice.
Yeah. Anime is really big in Cincinnati now. I mean, just in general, it's the wave of the future.
I mean, I really blame them. My first introduction to anime was Dragon Ball and all that stuff from to Toonami, and that was my gateway to actually learning how to draw people. Because before that show even came up, I was like wanting to be like Bob Ross and some other people that just draw sceneries and animals and stuff. But then that show came up, it's like, okay, I gotta start doing that.
That's great.
There was just something about it, and years later, if I would have told my younger self that, hey, you get to meet the voice actors of Goku and Vegeta later on, I probably would have shit my pants.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Bob Ross drawing happy little trees.
Oh no, I still paint him there. And that's just that little de-stressor for me.
It's a way to unwind. Paint a bunch of happy little trees.
Yep. Give them friends.
I mean, I even go to the zoo every now and then, just to draw some of the animals there, and that's been like my stress reliever.
That does sound kind of nice. Like our one friend, Christina Wald. She's an illustrator, and she goes around and draws architecture, buildings and stuff in her sketchbook. She's got a little set of portable watercolors she takes with her and gets in real quick with watercolor. Really nice stuff.
Yeah, I go with either some of these Copics, or I tend to also do charcoal drawings. Actually, I think I actually still have one of my charcoal pieces. Give me 1 second if I can find it.
That's something I want to get back into, is painting. I haven't painted anything in a long time.
Yeah, I'll stick with pen and ink.
All right, my tape keeps sliding down. This starting to drive me crazy.
Uh-oh.
Need new tape.
Here we go. So, like, one example from the charcoal was I was doing Jack Sparrow.
That is sick.
Jesus, dude, that is amazing.
Wow.
And then another time where I was actually doing charcoal, but I mixed it with Copics, was
Nice.
Crow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
So
Now,
sometimes I try to dabble in realism.
that Jack Sparrow, did you, I mean, you said you used charcoal for that.
Mhm.
What did you use for the white? Is that just colored pencil?
There's a white charcoal pencil.
Oh, white charcoal. Nice.
Mhm. But I use a. I learned this from college, actually. So just from using a tone paper.
Yeah, the tone.
Just go from the darks and then work my lights to actually get that going.
Yeah, that's really killer, man. I like that.
That's amazing.
Appreciate that.
Okay, this is driving me nuts. Stay on there.
Time for new tape.
Yeah, this tape's seen better days.
And you know that's only going to happen live.
Oh, of course.
Of all the times.
That's all right. I don't mind looking like an idiot time to time.
Oh, I excel at it.
And I got a degree in it.
Just ask anybody within earshot.
Yeah.
And they will concur.
Chime in, Tina. I want to hear
it. She's gone oddly silent.
And the funny part is I was looking at something else and I had my headphones on, and I still didn't hear what anybody said.
Well, then I can't remember what I said. It's all a blur.
I'll refresh it later.
No, it had nothing to do with more art supplies. I'm good right now.
But now that you mention it.
Actually, now that you did mention that, I need to visit my local art shop.
Where do you go?
I go to the Plaza Art Store. It's to me the closest one is actually over in Kenwood, but there's one in downtown Cincinnati.
Is that still there?
They moved to a different location, but it's still in downtown Cincinnati.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They moved to a different location after the building where Antonelli College used to be shut down. So they moved, I think, a few blocks down, honestly, and you'll probably be able to find it because they're still selling a lot more Copic markers that are basically the same price as what you can get from Blick.
So we either go to the one in Clifton, or occasionally we'll go up to the one in Kenwood.
Yeah, I mean, Kenwood was the closest one for me. Okay.
Oh, Jake, you were talking about The Crow. Definitely one of my favorite movies as well. And you'll get a kick out of this.
Oh, wow.
This was a photo. I had a photocopy that Kyle gave me when I was like 16 years old. He did this for James, but it was never actually published. So I blew the photocopy I had up. I inked it. And then Kyle and James signed it down here.
That is awesome.
Very cool. Well,
And
since
talk
we're
about a
showing
pain inking Kyle stuff. That dude's detailed as hell.
oh my God, he's insane. Let me, since we're showing stuff off, let me show you guys something real quick. Hang on. Did I show you guys this last week? I don't think I did. Now, hang on. This was one of my Christmas gifts. Remember that Comic-Con I was talking about in New York City?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I was smart enough to take a piece of board with me and get a couple autographs.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, Lensner.
Oh, wow.
You know how much that cost me?
How much?
$20.
For gas.
$20.
For that?
Really?
You $20.
Remember, it was 1990.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But let's go over who's on here. Howard Chaykin, Neil Adams,
Oh,
Stan Lee,
the man.
Scott Williams, Sherry Austin, Keith Williams,
Joe Jusko.
Joe Jusko, Eric Larson, Javier Salterez, Rob Liefeld. Actually, Rob, Eric, and Scott were sitting at the same table. And Scott grabbed it right away and signed it, and Eric grabbed it and did a Mary Jane. Rob wasn't going to draw on it. And I said, oh, come on, Rob. I drew all the way from Cincinnati, 650 miles. He's like, wow, you drew all the way from Cincinnati? Give me that board. And he, boom, sit there and did that. Boom, boom. Let's see. We got Tim Vigil down here. Charles Vess. Another little cry for dawn here. Chris Wozniak. Evan Dorkin. Sergio Originez.
John Byrne right there, yeah.
No, there's no John Byrne. Not on this.
That's not John Byrne, the bottom
No.
left? No, looked like it was.
No, I don't remember who that is. Oh, that's no. I don't know. That might be Buzz. Willie Reinhold, Bill Sienkiewicz did his little stray toaster. Mike Zeck here in the corner. Right, hang on a second. Right there, Mike Zeck. Bill Rye, John Romita Jr., Daredevil. Strowman and Walt Simonson.
Nice.
Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, Batman head. Yeah, so I had this and got this done in 1990. Adam Hughes, Blue Beetle. Dave Cockram's a little Banff, so it looks like Dawn's farting. But Kim DeMuller. Yeah. But yeah, I got this in 90 and it put it in a drawer, and it's been in a drawer for 30 years, and we finally got it out, and Tina got it framed for me for Christmas.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, talking about female artists or people who draw females, Lensner is another one that I love the way he draws females.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're real. They're
yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, it's 9:30, so we've hit that magical time where we can call it quits.
We're getting kicked out.
Oh no! Damn.
I almost got him done. Just got to do a little more in the background, do some more detail, a little more bussing up of the mask. But
hell yeah,
everybody's pieces look amazing.
Yeah, I just got to start putting some of the screen tones, and I might actually put the words noir and like a bloody red text on there.
That is sweet. So,
Nice.
Chad, the $64,000 question, is that for sale?
This will be for sale. Once I get the whole thing done, I'll be posting up a link.
Okay.
On my Facebook and everywhere else in social media.
Excellent. Fair enough.
Tag me in it and I'll share it out for you, Chad.
I will. I definitely will.
All right. And mine is also for sale if anybody's interested. And
mine is not. Mine's already bought and paid for.
Richard's, yours is bought and paid for, so you're already ahead of the game. All right, everybody. Let's go around a circle again, everybody, so we can remind everybody where we can be found. Richard, let's start with you.
RLJ3. Oh, crap. Just drew a blank. RLJ3.com. and RLJ3 Art on the socials.
There we go. All right. Chad, what about you, buddy?
And you can follow me on the Facebook. You can just type up the art of Chad Schoettle. But you can also follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, are all basically the same user tag that's on the screen right now. Showtell_arts.
Sweet. All right, everybody go follow these two lovely gentlemen. And as always, you can find me, the Rodney Fyke Art, on Facebook and Instagram. You can also check me out at the Hasm YouTube on the Hasm YouTube channel, as well as Hasm.com. That's HAZZUM.com. You can also catch me right here on the Indie Comics Network 4 nights a week, Thursdays, Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. for Sketchy Saturdays, Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. now, Dispatches Outside the Box, and Mondays now at 3 p.m. for Fyke It, Let's Draw. So, everybody, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you guys coming and spending a little bit of your evening with us.
And what are we going to do next week?
What are we going to do next week?
No.
I'm sure I do, but remind me.
Stranger Things.
Oh, that's right. Next week is Stranger Things weekend.
And I got a good piece that I'm going to be working up for next week.
That's right. Brian Neifert will be joining us next week. So tune in and check that out. That'll be a lot of fun. So, hey, everybody, for Richard Jones, Chad Schoettle, this is Rodney Fyke saying, so long, everybody. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.